Never gave a damn about what nobody thought about me. See what I want, I get it and move on. Wood was an enigma. He was a special kind. He was the exception, not the rule. I had no interest in a man I could keep. And now that he's gone, I'm right back in that place. I ain't got no use for a nigga unless he can give me a good time. My preference is to be one and done so he don't catch no feelings. But if he can keep the main thing and put it down how I like, I'll keep him in rotation. But a nigga trying to use me for a nut would be in good company. Because I give as good as I get. This is Bedtime Stories. Grown-up edition. Poetic Justice. Part 20. When we left off, Maribel had laid the law down as it pertained to the Queen Mother. And the Queen Mother had appeared to accept it. Emmanuel Lopez was still in St. Lucia. And it appeared that he and Nadia were having an affair. Both Idra and the Queen Mother had decided that the two were grown adults. And if they wanted to go to hell, they certainly could. But they both needed to be prepared for the fact that Marisol might very well send one or both of them there sooner than they planned to go. I had been there, support the Queen Mother, when she had that very important conversation with her entire family. And after she was put out of Donovan and Maribel's house, the entire family erupted. Stephanie said, "I'm sorry, but I don't see the problem. Personally, I wouldn't have let the heifer live, pregnant or not. I'm sorry, Donovan." Salima said, "I probably would have let her live, but she wouldn't be in a treatment facility. She'd be tied up in a damn cabin, just like she did Donovan, until it was time for her to have that baby." Why, I said, "And then what? You just show up with the woman's baby and a story about how she died?" Salima said, "Hell yeah, sounds about right." Anya signed, "What has this life turned you two into?" Donovan said, "It hasn't turned them into anything. They're in the life because this is who they are." Corey, Wise, these your wives. Y'all sticking beside them? CT and Wise just bust out laughing. They ain't need Donovan to tell them who they married. They both had many Bellas. CT said, "In all honesty, no matter what the Queen Mother would have done when she was informed that Porsha was still alive, it would have created an obstacle for you and Maribel." Idris said, "It's easy to say what you would do if you were in somebody else's shoes. But real talk, other people's shoes don't fit. And even if they did, we'd have a hard time lacing them up. This isn't about whether you're in the life or not. Bella made the wrong choice. She's admitted that." Maribel said, "Did she? I must have missed when she said that." Idris said, "She admitted it to me. Whether she'll ever admit it to anybody else or not remains to be seen. But I don't know that even matters." Maribel said, "You're right, it doesn't." Idris said, "What does matter is her motivation. Why did she do what she did? Why do any of us do what we do? We may not all have secrets like this one, but we all got secrets. We all justify and make excuses. And we can't possibly like all the decisions that the people that we love make. We just gotta hope that when they make them with our best interests at heart." Maribel said, "I cannot believe that you are defending her right now. Let me guess. You're going to defend what my father's doing too." Idris said, "That's not my business. And I'm not defending her. First of all, she ain't never needed no backup. I'm simply doing for her what she's always done for all of y'all. Every last one of you have been the beneficiary of her wise counsel. I'm not telling you to forgive what she did, Maribel, or suggesting that you should reconcile with her. I'm doing what she would do if one of you made a decision that impacted someone else's life and they couldn't understand why you did. The same way I'm asking you to consider her perspective, I've asked her to consider yours." Angela said, "And that's why she walked out of here so peacefully. I've held my tongue to stay out of the line of fire. But I'm going to have to pull your card, Maribel. You remember when the Queen Mother and Idra parted ways, and you were going on about her giving up an opportunity to find love again. You said you had no idea that the Queen Mother could be that selfish." And Idra burst out laughing. Maribel asked, "What is so funny?" And then Angela burst out laughing. And Idra said, "If you think selfishness is what drove her decision, then you know nothing." And Donovan said, "My mother's one of the most selfless women I know. Over the past few years, we've learned a lot about this family, about my mother, and about the 5 families. But painting my mother or your father with a brush based on one decision is just unfair." Idris said, "Bella will always choose you all first. What's best for her family will always come first. If that means sacrificing herself, her heart's desires, then she's willing to do that. Meanwhile, at the Lopez estate, the Queen Mother's on a multi-person call with her good girlfriends. Her sisters-in-law, Tessa and Catherine, Mom Brenda, and Marisol. The only person absent is Nadia. They're all in the know about the situation with Porsha, the fight with Maribel, and she just got them caught up on the family meeting. Mom Brenda asked, "So Bella girl, how you feeling?" The Queen Mother said, "I'm good. I'm going to leave them alone, but I'm going to keep my eye on Porsha's sale. My son and his wife are a united front, and even though they're united against me, their unity is all I wanted in the first place. If anger with my choices keeps them on their toes, then I've done my job. I just need someone in Maribel's ear to make sure that she keeps an eye on Porsha and sticks to her husband like glue." Marisol said, "Well, I've got that in hand." Tessa said, "Girl, how you got that in hand and you ain't got your husband in hand? How long you plan on whooping yourself for a decision you made damn near 40 years ago? You just gonna let your marriage devolve into one big manic episode?" Marisol said, "I'm not in the business of keeping a man who doesn't want to be kept. And I'm not flying around the world behind a man who already knows where he can find me." Mom Brenda said, "I know that's right." The Queen Mother said, "The hell? You know what? I said I was going to mind my business, so I'm going to mind my business." Tessa said, "Well, I'm not. Y'all done gone from trying to control how these young people handle their business to completely failing to handle y'all's. And I'm trying to figure out where they do that at." Marisol said, "Let me stop you there. Everyone has told themselves stories about my decisions. Everybody thinks that they are the expert on my life, my marriage, and what I should do. But I've already consulted with the actual expert. I've been consulting with him my entire marriage. I get why you all think that I should take some action. I understand why you all believe that guilt and shame is fueling my inaction. So I'm going to share this with you all. And my ask and expectation is that I not have to say it again. The author and finisher of my faith has given me direction. He's also given me a promise, and I am trusting him to fulfill it. While I commit myself to his direction, he told me to be still and know that he is God, and that is what I'm doing. I've imagined myself doing all manner of things that are not outside the realm of possibilities if I was operating in my flesh, but I'm not. While I don't get it right all the time, I have a pretty good handle on letting God be God, and he has not failed me yet." Mom Brenda said, "I know that's right, girl." Marisol said, "So my husband will do what he does, and Nadia will do what she can. And no matter what they do, I'll be in God's will. I sleep well at night because I have peace, and I know where my help comes from. Now, I'll focus on reminding my daughter to do the same." Meanwhile, at Stephanie and CT's house, Stephanie, Salima, and Renni are having a conversation via FaceTime. Stephanie and CT's wedding is planned for the following. Their original plans to marry in Puerto Rico have been derailed, with just about everyone who was intended to be in attendance too far along to travel, and Stephanie's hopes that True would have returned so that she could be by her side for the big day dashed. Stephanie had resigned herself to a small wedding right there in Texas, followed by her, CT, and baby Kari's relocation to Puerto Rico. Stephanie said, "I really hate doing this without True here. It's safe for her to return now. I can't understand why she hasn't." Salima said she's probably heartbroken over Big Wood's death. Renni said maybe she's having complications with the pregnancy and she can't travel. She's just as far along as y'all are. Just remember, whether she's there with you or not, this is precisely what she wanted for you. I'm sure she knows all about it and is ecstatic for you, girl. She's always been there for all of the important moments in our lives. It's about time that she choose her. Hell, I still can't believe she's pregnant. I can't believe all of y'all got knocked up. What was y'all thinking? Selima said, you keep asking that. I told you, I was trying to get a nut. I was not trying to get no baby. Stephanie asked, but you're happy about it now, right? Selima said, I am. I'm just not feeling being relegated to the sidelines and not being able to follow up in person on that whole situation with Hanifa. Renni asked, have you heard something else from her? I thought everything was settled with that. Selima said, the cops have backed off, but if Hanifa is anything like what I knew of her back in the day, then I can pretty much guarantee that despite her father's interference, we have not heard the last of her. Now, I've put some folks on her, but you know how it is. Ain't nothing like keeping eyes on a situation yourself. If it was business, I'd feel a lot more comfortable with letting other people handle it. But this is personal. So I'm getting antsy, and I can't wait to have this baby. Stephanie said, I thought the Queen Mother said that you need to sit out for at least 6 months after you have the baby. Selima said, like I said, if this was business, things would be different. But this is personal. Meanwhile, in Denver, a little over 2 weeks have passed since True's trip to the hospital. She hasn't had any more signs of preterm labor. She's been writing her and Big Wood's love story in the online journal for Miss Charlotte and Baby Genesis. She's got cabin fever and she's bored to death. Getting her feelings written down have certainly helped, but there's no way she could be over Big Wood's death so soon. Bosch has done all that he can to keep her spirits up, make sure that she's following doctor's orders, while also giving her the space that she needs. When he sees on the camera that she's heading towards the gym, he quickly grabs his shirt and throws it on. When True enters the room, it's clear before she even opens her mouth that she's in a tizzy. Bosch says, what's up? And True said, my best friend is getting married tomorrow, and I'm not going to be there. My life is falling apart, and hers is coming together. And I can't even be there with her to celebrate her good fortune. This is not how things are supposed to be. This isn't how things were supposed to turn out, Bosch said. So instead of just being happy for your girl, being glad that things are turning out well for her, you having a tantrum because you're not there to see it with your own 2 eyes. True said, I'm not having a tantrum. You said that I could talk to you. For weeks, you've tried to get me to share my feelings with you. And now I'm sharing my feelings with you, and you brushing them off. Never mind. I should have known this was a damn mistake. Then she turned around and started walking towards the door. Bosch said, hold on. I was just trying to get you to hear yourself. Hear how ridiculous this all is. This ain't about you not being there. It's about you being bored. Fine, you can't be there, but it's only because you can't travel. You ain't got to stay in this house, True. That pastor friend of yours gave you some good advice. While the crisis has been averted, you're still in a position where you can't just be all out in the world, especially not without more protection than just me. But you can don a disguise and go out and have a good time. Get something to eat, listen to some music, catch a flick, or whatever it is you like to do in your spare time. Just tell me where you want to go. I'll take you. True said, let me find out you asking me out on a date. Bosch said, come on now. You can't go by yourself. I ain't pushing up. You need something to do. I'm just giving you ideas. Then Bosch grabbed his phone, went on the internet, and went to the Denver events website. He scrolled through the options and read a variety of them off. And when he got to the open mic at the Denver Mercury poetry spot, he saw True's eyes light up. He said, you into poetry? True said, it's one of my favorite pastimes, and I love a good open mic. Bosch said, you gonna get on the mic? True said, hell no. Bosch said, why not? True said, brings back too many memories. True's mind immediately went back to her and Big Wood's first date in Denver when they went to the poetry slam and open mic night, where she displayed her poetry skills for him. And the night ended with them agreeing to give it a go. True said, maybe it's not a good idea. Bosch said, how long you think you're supposed to wait before you start living again? How much is a respectable amount of time to spend dying inside? Do you feel like you need to spend your entire pregnancy miserable and bemoaning your lot in life, wallowing in self-pity and down in the dumps? When I lost my girl and my baby, I wanted to die. I ain't have nothing or nobody to live for. Eventually, I had to figure out that I had to live for me. But you do have somebody to live for. You got a baby on the way. A baby that should get used to hearing you laugh, hearing joy in your voice when you speak. A baby that shouldn't be fed a constant diet of heartbreak, despair, and grief. Grieve, but you still gotta live. And while you living, you still gonna grieve. And everybody who's ever lost anybody knows that all you can do is keep living. And you're the only one who gets to decide whether to let the memories bring you joy or the pain drown you in despair. Just let me know what you want to do. And True did just that. She went back to her room in the house, thought about all that Bosh had said, and decided she was going to that poetry open mic with Bosh. She was going to grace the stage, too. She had the perfect poem for it. When True came downstairs, all dolled up and in a disguise, Bosh said, "You look good. You look like somebody else, but you still look good." When they got to the Denver Mercury poetry spot, True was pleasantly surprised to see that there was still room on the agenda for the evening. So she went ahead and put her name on the list. And Bosh was shocked that he'd not only gotten her to go, but that she was going to share her talents with him and the rest of the crowd. When it was True's turn, she got up on the stage and said, "Sleeping. This one is called Sleeping. You used to fill me up to overflowing. Water all the places where I wasn't growing. Now my cup is empty and drought is all I'm knowing. My twin-size bed used to be big enough to hold my dreams. Then I grew up and realized it was smaller than it seemed. I outgrew what was designed to hold my small frame, despite the fact that my size hadn't changed. It was the dreams that got bigger, the passion, the need. It was the shell that I shed, the skin, the dead seed. While I was sleeping, nutrients were added. Water was poured and the soil was tilled. Loving hands had shaped the planter's box, and brand new dreams were being willed. Not a fool or a queen would do, because you'd found me and I'd found you. In a king-size bed, tucked in real tight. Me, you, and these dreams, oh, we slept good at night. But that very first night I had to tell you, so listen, right? I've always been afraid to fall asleep in the dark, and you did your best to reassure me. And it worked, in part. You covered my fear, that one and every night. I slept good in your arms, under your weight with no light. Damn. Why can't this just be a love story? Why can't I say that love and light won? Because the darkness swallowed you, stole my dreams, and left me in this big-ass bed undone. And I'm left here sleeping in this bed as a party of one. You will never tell me another bedtime story. Listen as I recount my nightmares, no matter how gory. Whisper that it'll be all right when I wake up with a fright, or be the reason why I look forward to going to bed at night. You not putting me to sleep with no bomb head, or waking me up the next day to breakfast in bed. Please tell me y'all know what I'm talking about. That you know what it's like to be loved without a doubt. To have someone, your someone, put it on you in every way. Fast, slow, hard, soft, and leave you pressed to get back to it every day. If not, I hate that for you. And if you do, then I pray you never feel this too. I pray you never know what it is to be living and dead. 'Cause nowadays, I ain't getting no sleep when I go to bed. I'm trying to navigate living without Wood, my big papa. Never, ever again hearing that man say, "I got you, little mama." When True was done, the crowd was moved. She got cheers and applause. And when she took her seat, Bosh watched her. It was clear to him that while that was cathartic for True, she hadn't done it for the applause. She did not need to be affirmed by him. And something was missing. When the night was over and they headed back to Angela and Stephanie's estate, Bosh looked over at True while he drove and said, "You glad you got out the house?" True said, "Yeah, thanks for encouraging me to get out." Bosh asked, "When you write that poem?" True said, "I've been writing it off and on for some time now. I finished it like a week ago." Bosh said, "There was a moment in there that just didn't ring true. Like maybe you switched it up or took something out." True said, "You could tell?" Bosh said, "I was clocked in. I know you can't tell looking at me, but I'm into poetry too, and not just for the aesthetic. It was obvious at the beginning of the poem that you got a real pen, so ain't no way you'd be that lazy, rhyming two and you, like you was on your Dr. Seuss." True chuckled and said, "Everything ain't for public consumption." Bosh said, "You gonna let me hear it or you gonna act shy?" True said, "Shy? I don't know that anyone in that crowd wanted to hear me describe in intricate detail just how thoroughly my man used to put it down. And I certainly don't want to stir up feelings that I can't do anything about. I can't do what I used to do when I got an itch that need to be scratched." Bosh asked, "Why not?" True said, "It's complicated." Bosh had no clue that True was referring to the fact that she could not use an internal vibrator, or The fact that she used to pull up at a bar, order a couple of drinks, peep the scene, and choose whatever man piqued her interest to warm her bed for the night. He was mistakenly under the impression that it was True's loyalty to Big Wood's memory and concerns for her reputation that were keeping her libido under wraps. Bosh said, so you know there are plenty of men who wouldn't give a second thought to taking a pregnant woman down, especially knowing that ain't no man coming behind her to check for her. I can respect the fact that you don't want to capitalize on your anonymity in a city where you don't have no ties to get your needs met temporarily. True said, yeah, you don't know me at all. I ain't never gave a damn about what nobody thought about me. See what I want, I get it and move on. Wood was an enigma. He was a special kind. He was the exception, not the rule. I had no interest in a man I could keep. And now that he's gone, I'm right back in that place. I ain't got no use for a nigga unless he can give me a good time. My preference is to be one and done so he don't catch no feelings. But if he can keep the main thing and put it down how I like, I'll keep him in rotation. Bosh said, I'm confused then. I thought. True said, you thought that I was the type of woman to obligate myself to a man that I can't have? He got my heart. Another man will never have that. But a nigga trying to use me for a nut would be in good company. Because I give as good as I get. All the literature that I've read indicates that pregnant women should get it on a regular basis. The problem is this baby ain't going. He ain't letting a man go where his father should be. And I ain't got the time or the patience to convince a man to give me what I need without going all the way. And then Bosh got it. Bosh said, oh, you one of those. True said, one of those what? Bosh said, chill. One of those sexually free women who know how to separate sex from love. One who can be fulfilled without the emotion. I ain't judging you. Hell, that's my favorite kind of woman.